Hey, what's up everyone? Kodo Lewis here, back with another video on Sunhaven. So in this one, we're going to be doing the maximum mana guide. Really, this is going to be a maximum stat guide for a few things. We've got, we've got mana, health, defense and movement speed, magic damage, health regeneration, and just base max attack increase as well. So those are going to be all the stats that we're going to be going over in this video. We're going to start out with magic because that's going to be the main focus of this video, is increasing the maximum mana. There's a little bit to it other than everything else. Everything else is mainly just going to be the same, just whereas the mana, you have to do the same thing as everything else plus a little few extra steps. There's a few things you have to go make sure you do every couple so many days, and a few skills you have to unlock, and we're just going to be going over all that stuff. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So for starters, let me just pull up my list here. The first thing we're going to want to do is eat at least 3 of every mana pool food. The rarity does not matter. So I've also got this list right here. Here's all the foods you're going to need to make sure you eat. Now the reason I'm saying to eat at least 3 of every food is because the way it works, there is basically what they call diminishing returns on the food. So basically, like, let's say if you ate like a berry or something that was going to give you mana, maybe the first one's going to give you like 3 mana, but then the second one you eat is only going to give you like 2 mana, and the last one's only going to give you like 1 mana, and then if you eat the fourth one, you're not going to get any mana, basically. Now that's not 100% how it works. There hasn't really been any confirmation on like how the diminishing really works. Everybody seems to be saying that 3 seems to be the magic number, so I'm thinking 3 is fine. I've eaten 3 on my main character on mostly everything, and I've got super high mana. I think my mana is at like 5 or 600 or something crazy like that. My health is like 699, so 3 I'm pretty sure will get you there just fine. If you're paranoid about it, go ahead and eat 4 or 5, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to matter. Maybe if it does, it'd be like 1 point possibly or something like that, because like I said, it's diminishing, so it'd be hard to tell. Some of the food might only give you like 0.2 of a mana, and then you have to eat like that fourth food of like 6 or 7 different things, you know, to get that extra point or whatever of mana. I'm not 100% sure if that's how it works, but that's just my take on it and what I'm assuming. But from my experience, 3 is just fine. So let's go ahead and just start eating these foods. Here's that list again. You know, this different amounts are going to give you different things. You really want to focus on getting these huge and large more than anything, just because that's just going to be the biggest difference. Those are going to give you the biggest increases. And you can get these foods by crafting them. You can craft any of these pretty much in the cooking pot. And some of the things like the sugar, I think you can make in the grinder. You can buy that at the general store. But all these, and then some of these actually, like these berries, you'll have to get off the trees and stuff like that. You can't grow them yet. So, and even like seaweed, you have to find that on the beach. You know, and that's a small return. And if you look, guys, it's even gonna say right there, if you actually read the description on these, how it says seaweed provides a very small amount of max mana. Now that right there is what we're talking about on these lists right here, where I say small. It's going to be here. Now, I don't have seaweed on this list. I'm going to go ahead and put seaweed on the list. Boom, it's got seaweed on the list. The list is kind of tough to make because there wasn't really, the wiki is pretty spotty in some ways, so some of the stuff I had to just look up through on the game, and that's just what I found. So there may be a few items from the list missing, so if anybody sees any foods missing from the list, comment below, let people know what foods we need to put on the list and all that stuff. Try to get like a full-blown list. That way everybody can just, you know, get maximum stats and everything. It's pretty tough considering you have to eat those specific meals. If you miss one meal, you're going to be missing out on some points. And the maximum mana is going to affect like your magic damage, so, and the damage of your spells and whatnot, just based off of your how high your mana is, I believe. So let's go ahead and just start devouring these foods. That way we can see how high our mana is going to jump. Right now we're sitting at 85, and this is going to be the biggest difference. So that's why I put it as the first thing on the list. I already ate one of these, so that's why I only have 2 of these. I accidentally ate it right before I started the video, so but we're going to go ahead and just start eating this and watch our mana just climb up. And now I've got all these separated. These are all the mana stuff. Every one of these is mana, and then this to the left here is all health stuff. Health. Some of these berries are, yeah, mixed in right here. But let's go ahead and keep eating. You can already see our stuff's just jumping up. We're already going to be at 100 after that. Nope, a little bit under. Just go ahead and get these out of the way for now. Come back to those in a minute. And you can just see the mana is just going up steadily now. It's very small amounts, really, though. It's small amounts, but it's just that every little thing in the game, you know, there's so many little things that give you this mana stat increase that you have to make sure you do every little thing, or you're going to be missing out on quite, you know, a decent amount of mana. There's just so many little foods to eat, and then others. So there's a few skills, like I said, we're gonna go get a few fountains we have to drink out of to get that mana every few days. Okay, we're almost done now. We've got this seaweed. Now I'm gonna go ahead, before I start eating these mushrooms and berries, I'm gonna go ahead and get this skill under the exploration tree, this soul food right here. It's on the list, it's further down, but I'm going to go ahead and get it now. That way we can eat these berries, and it's also going to give us that maximum mana increase. It's going to give us up to 40 mana based on eating these, so go ahead and get that. And now whenever we eat these mushrooms and berries, we're going to get that extra 1 point of mana on top of what they're already going to give us. It's the small things like that skill there that stack onto everything else that'll just really skyrocket your stats. And let's go ahead and just eat these berries just to keep getting some more. These are for health, but it's going to give us some mana for each one because of that skill, just to show off how that works. You're just going to want to eat, I think it's 40 is the max, so you're going to have to eat like 40 different berries. I mean, they don't have to be different, but you know, 40 berries, whatever. Doesn't matter if they give health or mana, or the mushrooms too, it's berries or mushrooms. So that was basically it for those mana foods we had. We didn't really have all the foods on the list. We had a decent amount. I think we had a lot of the huge and large ones, but we were missing quite a bit of the moderate foods, and we still got our mana just off of eating that up to 100 points. We got a 100 point increase just about on that, just eating those foods right there alone. So let's go ahead and take a look at what is next on the list. Next we've got use every small mana tome you find. Unlock the comprehension skill and the exploration tree as soon as possible to maximize this. And the skill gives you 50%, the magic wizard tomes give 50% as much max mana. So basically, I'm pretty sure these start out only giving you 1 max mana whenever you use these mana tomes. Then they're going to give you, I believe, 2 now. Let me go ahead and use one. Just got to right click on it. Oh, that gives you 4. Okay, so I believe they start out giving you 2 mana then, and then that increases to 4. So those are actually extremely good. That's why I put it second on the list. It's possible that might even be number one on the list, to be honest. It's probably pretty close on the two. You definitely want to get that skill. Let me go ahead and look in the skills. Let's see, where's the skills at? Here we go. It's a pretty early on skill right here. Mana tomes give 50% more max mana. You want to pick that up as soon as you can, because you're going to find these mana tomes pretty frequently. Like on my main character, I'm not exactly sure how many I've found, but I've probably used at least 25, if not more. And you have to think about that. 25 of these at 4 apiece is 100 mana. That's, you know, a massive gain right there. So that's a huge piece of this. 100 mana is massive. So definitely keep that in mind. And you can find these books just randomly in the forest. That's where I've always seemed to find them. I'm pretty sure where only place they spawn is it doesn't matter in the east or the west. What I've noticed is if you haven't been, like, let's say you went to the East Forest early on in the game for the quest, and then the rest of the time you've been spending in the West, where like the Nelvari village and all that stuff is, and it's been a while since you've been to the East, go back to the East every once in a while, and you'll probably see a few books have spawned there. I've seen them all the time, and then constantly making the trips back and forth to Nelvari too, to be able to farm mana orbs and stuff. You're gonna definitely find a lot of books. I found so many mana tomes that way. You know, I'm not sure exactly how many spawn, but I'm pretty sure they will stop spawning after you've used a certain amount. I almost guarantee you that's how it works, because I had messed around with a few of the duplication glitches on a character I was playing with, just to see, just to test it out, and like, you can get your mana as high as you want with these tomes. Like, it doesn't cap out when you use these tomes, and I'm pretty sure that's because they're probably only supposed to spawn a certain amount. So if you just sit here and duplicate them, then you can get like thousands of mana. But other than that, the mana, I'm pretty sure, does have a cap, because these are going to stop spawning after you get something. And maybe they don't. Maybe it's infinite. I don't know. But, you know, if anybody knows, maybe comment below. Let us know how that works. But I'm pretty sure it's a limited thing. But yeah, go ahead and use these. We're going to go ahead and use these 3 up and move on to the next thing on the list. So, up to almost 200 mana though, already pretty good. So the next thing on the list, number 3, we've already done this basically. Unlock the skill Soul Food. Eating mushrooms and berries always increases your max mana by 1 to a maximum of 40. Already got that covered. Number 4, unlock any of the combat skills that increase your max mana. Now there's 3 of them. That's pretty self-explanatory. We're still going to go ahead and check these out. We've got, right here is the Novice Caster, 15 mana for that one. Expert Caster, 20 mana for that one. And we've got the Legendary Caster, which is 35 mana for that one. So that's pretty much like, what, 55 plus 60, 70 mana right there off of those 3 skills. That's pretty massive chunk right there. So go ahead and make sure you grab those skills. That's just, you know, each one of these little pieces, like each one of these numbers is just going to give you a lot. Like that one about 70. I mean, honestly, we could probably have put this one above and this one in the list, just because it does give you a little bit more altogether. About 70 on that one, 40 on that one. It's 110. This one can give you at least 100. I know for a fact you can get at least 25 of those books. So that's going to be, what were we at? 70, 110, 210, plus this can give you well over 100 we've seen. I bet this gives you even 200, I'd say, altogether when you eat every single food. That's going to be probably about 200 on that. So that's up to about 400 off of just these 4 things. So I'd say about each thing gives you about almost 100. Except for maybe these last few things. Now, this is the 5th one. Feed the Snackoon in the East Forest to unlock access to the Wishing Well. The reset time is unknown, but multiple uses are possible. And I'll explain that a little more. Let's go ahead and head up there real quick before it gets too dark. Alright, I believe it's right up here. Right here is where the snack coon would be if you haven't fed it. I believe it takes 10 apples and 10 squash bananas. Super easy. Just kill those few of those monkeys, get the bananas, bring in some apples. Real simple stuff. Now, I think you have... I've read some stuff that says you don't have to have like the air skip to get across here, but I'm not sure how you guys are going to pull that off. But, you know, if somebody needs help with that, maybe you could help them out. But I'm not 100% sure. I would just get the air skip. I don't see why you wouldn't have it. That's kind of like the best thing in the game, in my opinion. But that it is what it is. But here we go. Here's the wishing well. I haven't used it yet, so I can saved it for you guys. But basically, whenever we use this, it's going to increase our mana. I think it's going to be by about 15 every time you use it, from what I've noticed. I'm not sure if it jumps up and down or not. I haven't really experimented with this or the fountain in the town enough to know. They're basically the same thing, but I do know you can use them multiple times. I did not know that the first time, and I used this like really early game, and then I went like 30 days without using it again. So it's like I probably could have used it like every 7 days or so. You know, I don't know the reset time on this. I couldn't figure it out. Nobody on the internet seemed to know. So if you know the reset time on this, you know, leave that in the comments. You know, just to try to help make this guide as good as possible. But let's go ahead and use this. Make a wish. There we go. Plus 15 mana. You see it right down here. You know, just I recommend coming back to this every couple days just to until, or you know, unless somebody knows the pattern, then. But that's basically all this is. And then the last thing is basically going to be the same thing as well. It's going to be use the Sun Dragon Fountain in the Sunhaven Town Square. The reset time for this is 7 days. Now, I don't know if that's 100% true either. The reset time to in 7 days. I had just saw a few posts where people were talking about it, and that seemed to be consistent. But again, I haven't tested that out. It seems to be pretty accurate, but you know, that's something you guys are just gonna have to test out. If anybody can confirm it, go ahead and leave it in the comments, you know, just to help everybody out. It's still a super new game. The mechanics aren't 100% known right now, I guess, so every little bit helps. So the Sunhaven Fountain right here, you're gonna know when you're gonna be able to use it. It's gonna pop up just like on the wishing well. Let's go ahead and use it and see what we get. This is going to give us +5. I don't know if it's +5 every time, but I'm pretty sure it is. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, if they're both every 7 days, that's an extra 20 mana every 7 days. You know, you can collect. So that's a pretty easy passive thing. I don't know how many times you can do it, but if you can do it 10 times, you know, it's going to take 70 days to get it. So definitely this is one of the things you want to stay on top of and remember to do, just because you can't really grind it out like the other ones. You can't just grow it or whatever. You have to wait the time to pass to be able to come here and use it. So, and then one other thing I didn't put it on the list, but let me go ahead and bring up this full list right here. Here's the list of everything right here at one time, just so you guys can know for your convenience. One thing I didn't put on the list, if you level up your combat, that is also a way to get your mana and your health as well to go up. It's not much. I think you get about, I'm not sure if it scales to like based on level or whatever, but it seems to give you a couple points every time you level up. And I don't even know if it's every time, honestly, but from what I've seen, it seems to be a consistent 2+ points at least on your mana and your health for every combat level you get. So that's something you're definitely going to want to have to do as well. And that's basically it for the maximum mana guide. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the other stats. Now the other stats are way easier than the mana. You basically are just going to eat the foods that we need for the stats. So for example, we've got the health pool foods. All we're going to need to do for maximum health, if we want max health, we're just going to have to eat all these foods right here. Really simple. Again, these may not be all the foods you if anybody knows any foods missing on the list, comment below, leave them in there. That goes for any of these foods on any of the lists. I'm not 100% sure if we missed any or not. This is mostly just based off of the wiki and what I could find in any of the crafting things or at the cafe. Which, by the way, I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but I meant to. If you go here to the cafe, that is where you can buy just about any of these meals. You can craft them all, but you can buy them in the cafe. It's going to be a lot more expensive, but it's, you know, it's more convenient. If you've got a lot of money and you don't want to grow all the stuff, then you can just buy everything right there in the cafe. The inventory rotates, so it does take a while to get some of the stuff. So honestly, you're probably better off trying to grow some of it. It just depends on your luck, really. But I've sat there like 3 or 4 days in a row checking the cafe, and only like one item will actually change in there. So, you know, I was trying to find like some cheese or something like that, and it's like, yeah, no cheese after like a week. So you probably are gonna want to have to grow some of that stuff. Grow it or get like a cow to get the milk and stuff like that. The milk, I think you have to have the cow to get milk, or like a chicken to get eggs. You can't. I don't think those things will pop up in the cafe. Maybe in the future they'll update that, but right now I'm pretty sure that's just how it is. So that's something to consider too. The cafe is very useful if you have a lot of money though, and you're just wanting to get real fast mana real fast. You know, it's definitely a good strategy. But anyways, let's go ahead and just devour these foods real quick and just watch our health skyrocket. Steadily climbing. I don't even think those spring rolls were for health. I'm pretty sure those were actually for attack. Alright, cool, yeah. Another thing with the maximum health too, your maximum health is also based on like your armor you're wearing. The armor gives a ton of health. I forgot to mention that. Like whenever I'm wearing like full sunite gear with all the food I've eaten, I have like 700 health, like I was saying earlier. And I don't even think you can really take damage. You can just sit there and like I can jump in the lava and the mines and stuff. It's like, oh, don't even take damage. It doesn't. It's pretty cool, but it does respawn you or whatever, but it doesn't bring your health down. It's definitely pretty cool. But let's go ahead and move on. That's the health. And we're going to go ahead and look at the defense foods and the movement speed foods. There's only 2 movement speed foods, coffee and popcorn. Few defense foods. Pretty self-explanatory. You guys are just going to want to eat at least 3 of all of these. That way you can get that maximum stat gain. Got the magic damage increase foods. Again, really self-explanatory. Just eat these 3 of them and you're gonna get the highest possible maximum damage off the magic. And then this is just gonna be for magic, or this gives max attack on, I don't know if this really applies to magic, but I think it may stack with the magic, but it may be just for like melee in like the range, or it may just be in general max attack in general on everything. But then you also got this health regen up here, and I'm pretty sure that's everything. That looks like it. Yeah, and that's everything we have right here for you. We've got all those foods. It's really just going to be about eating those foods, guys. You really just going to want to make sure you eat 3 of everything. Any meal you see, any food you aren't sure you've eaten, you might want to, one suggestion I have, probably take those lists that I made and then, copy them, make your own little notepad list, and then just mark them off as you've eaten them and stuff, because it gets really confusing. I know on my character, like on my main character, I've spent tons of money just like wasting money and time growing stuff to eat foods that I thought I hadn't eaten, and then I went to eat them and didn't get any stat gains off them at all. So definitely it would be nice to see some kind of way to see what we've eaten and stuff already in the game, but that's just how it is right now. But it's not too horrible. Really just gotta eat food to get stats. Pretty cool. Eat stuff, get stronger. Anyways, that's all I've got for you guys today. So if you like this video at any point in time, please be sure to subscribe. If you really liked the video, make sure you like. If you've got any thoughts on any of this stuff, make sure you leave a comment down below. Like I said, if you know any foods that we're missing on the list, then please let us know down there. If you know the reset timers for the wishing well or for the Sunhaven fountain right here, if it is 7 days for sure, let's hear it. Comment below, that way everybody knows for sure that's confirmed. But that's really all I've got for you guys, so I'm out. Take care, guys.